Before jumping into part 8 of the sports series, I want to address something real quick. Sports game covers.
Now I believe that the best sports game cover highlights the sport rather than the athlete. For example, good cover, bad cover, good cover, bad cover, good cover, bad f***ing cover. UFC 4 is probably the worst cover for a sports game I've ever seen. The main picture is just two guys standing there wearing nice shirts. It looks more like a Far Cry game than a UFC game. Seriously, if you mark out UFC, can you tell that this is a fighting game? Oh well. I jumped into UFC by jumping onto a match as Kimbo Slice, cause God rest his soul, I loved him in that Christmas Drake and Josh movie where he played a prisoner named Bludge, who became buddies with Josh and then became Santa Claus. What a weird movie that was, considering that Drake and Josh managed to avoid serious jail time because they promised a little girl a Merry Christmas. Which, you know what, I wouldn't put it past the American justice system. Anyway, I'm saying all this is distracted from the fact that I disgraced Kimbo Slice. Yeah, UFC is definitely a confusing game to play. So many button combinations deliver different types of attacks, and once you're grounded, there's so much going on, I just don't know what to do. I tried going over to the tutorial, but EA Sports required me to be connected to access that. What type of bullshit is that? My second option was sparring against an opponent who let me do anything to them, which helped me figure out some of the controls. But when trying to put it into practice, it's a total different ballpark when your opponent actually starts fighting back. Yeah. News to me too. So ground game is definitely not my strong suit, so I did my absolute best to avoid ground combat at all costs and keep it to straight punches, but even then I'm getting totally outclassed. I decided to jump into the career mode as I've noticed that it's sometimes the best way to learn how to play a game. When it came to customizing my character, I was kinda surprised at how limiting it is. Now where you're allowed to type out your first name, your last name can only be selected from presets. And it's actually pretty funny that UFC is the one to do this. Like of all sports, UFC seems to attract the athletes that have names that could only be created by smacking a keyboard. Maybe they're doing this because they want commentators to be able to say your fighters' names, but other sports games let you name your characters whatever you want, and they give you an extra play-by-play option for commentators to use. The second thing that's weird about customizing is that it doesn't have a lot of options to make a character look like you. Like, I'm a guy that has medium long hair that pretty much every sport was able to capture decently. But here my two options for long hair are either taking away my forehead entirely, or making my hair look like I just took a bath with a toaster. At this point I gave up, I made a ridiculous character with the greatest mustache in history, and named him Gonzalez. Anyway, so UFC 4's career mode starts with cutscenes where your coach is giving you lessons in each fighting style, and after each lesson he signs you up for a fight to put into practice which style you just learned. Now, I like that UFC offers teaching people how to play, but good God almighty, couldn't they just add this training here? Anyway, now that I'm someone properly being taught someone how to fight, I came to realize that my usual style when it comes to fighting games isn't going to cut it. See, with games like Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter where it's nice to come out fast and ferocious, UFC has you focus on strategic fighting, which is why instead of a health bar, you get a stamina meter up here. Which does make sense, fighting is very exhausting. I mean, I get tired opening doors, God forbid I run out of stamina with just my bedroom door left. So UFC tries teaching you how to be effective with your stamina, which makes sense. I limited my door usage by leaving my front door open. That'll save energy. But yeah, coming out swinging for the fences drains your stamina and leaves you vulnerable for counterattacks. It's kinda like a game of chess. Now explaining why things are the way they are doesn't really solve the fact that I'm still not getting it. I never know how I'm doing in a fight because I'd be delivering a bunch of big blows to my opponents but they wouldn't go down. But they hit me once in my mustache and I just f***ing die. I did like the submission system, but that's only because it was basically from WWE 2K. Now my coach kept telling me about how much potential he saw in me. My thought was,
That's what, a f***ing sandbag?
I mean, listen, I'll give this game the benefit of the doubt that maybe if I was paying attention to what the coach was trying to teach me rather than trying to learn how to play that One Finger 11 song in my ocarina, I'd be doing better. I lost my 4 fights and then the career mode kicked off. My thoughts on the intro? It was definitely a pretty good way to start things off, slowly teaching me the different aspects of the game, and didn't have cutscenes that made me want to off myself. So in the career mode you get offered a fight, choose whether or not you accept that fight, and then spend the next few weeks prepping for it by training or hyping it up on social media. Thing is, once I started fighting, I actually started pulling off wins. Now the most likely explanation to all this is that I set the difficulty to the easiest setting. It definitely isn't because I got better at the game, because a lot of the time I'm still not sure what to do. Like when we're upright, sure, mash the buttons, but once things get grounded, I'm lost. At one point, this dude was giving me the Heimlich for a minute and I'm mashing all the buttons yet nothing's happening. And yes, while multiplayer is always a good way to salvage some worth out of a game, here in UFC it's a bit of a lose-lose. See, if 2 people randomly play it, it'll be the classic until someone gets knocked out. But God forbid you run into someone who actually knows how to play and then oh fuck. I can admire how realistic of a fighting game UFC tries to be, but unfortunately that comes at the expense of casual players.
Yeah, I really couldn't get into this game. It is a shame because I really have appreciation for this franchise. It's only the 4th installment in these recent UFC games.
See, a lot of sports franchises release their games yearly to full retail price and even deluxe editions for stupid people to buy. And after the next game comes out, the original game's value starts diminishing drastically to a point where it's not worth much. And yes, as games get older, they do lose value. I bought Destiny in the Division for $2 each, goddammit. But Jesus Christ, do games not lose value to the extent that sports games do? This one was worth 89 cents. People love these games. They treat them like children until the next game comes out. So thanks UFC for not contributing to that, I guess.